Oh, it was great. A lot of energy. Of course, we got, how it is the young men. Uh, when clouds blow in and wind blows in and the weather drops and you get rain, they all go crazy and love it until about 30 or 40 minutes in. But then it got a little warm and sunny, so it was a typical day of crazy weather.
Correct.
Jeff, how do you manage the mindset of the team at this point, going through some lows this season, but now being at kind of a high point? Do you need to do any kind of don't eat the cheese stuff, or is that not necessary?
No, we're still a work in progress. We're just continuing to get better, which we have all week. When you're 5-5, there's no reason to worry about eating any cheese. We got a lot of things to improve on. The good news is we have been improving on all those things, and we're continuing to get better.
This season, and this game was a good example of it, is the best you guys have been on third and fourth down defensively since you've been here. Is there anything you can point to that's led to that success really through the year?
I would say if you study us, 95% of the snaps this year, it's probably, you could argue, one of the best defenses we've ever had here. When we mess it up now, we mess it up bad. So those 5% have really crushed us, as was the case Friday night as well. Um, but I would say the biggest improvements, I would say, are just, there were zero pre-snap penalties on offense as far as our offensive line. We had a couple of alignment problems, but nothing as far as false starts. That was the first time all year that the D line and the O line, neither side had any of that. So if we can eliminate pre-snap and post-snap penalties, I can live with the stuff that goes on in between the whistles. I don't always agree with the calls, but those guys do a good job. They work their tails off. It's the before the snap and after the snap that we've done a much better job of eliminating here in the month of November.
You guys have also ranked pretty well nationally in time of possession, even before putting up a pretty lopsided number in this game. Was there any kind of intentional effort to that this year, or is that just kind of the style of team that you have?
Our defense has done a really good job. They either get them off the field quickly or they score quickly. So we get the ball back really fast. So that's very unintentional. But our offense has just continued to get better, which I would say historically that has been the case in all 5 years. We just get better as the season goes, and our guys just continue to. There's been more hiccups this year than normal, just because the injury rate has been so drastically higher than normal. So obviously, it takes some guys a little bit of time to get out there and get going. Even David, the first game back, he was significantly better the second game back than he was the first game back.
We're going to go to Scott next and then JJ.
Hey, Coach, why do you think, what is it about the Alamo Dome and your program since your arrival that that building has become one of the toughest places in all of college sports for road teams to get a win?
Well, we've embraced it for sure. We've said a million times how much we want to be the football team in the city of San Antonio, and the community has really embraced us back. So it starts with our fan base. Then next, I would say you have to look at our band. I mean, Sosa does a fantastic job. They've really learned how to play, when to play, how to get the excitement. Our student section has really bought into this. They've done a fantastic job for us. Palm and cheer. I mean, it's just. And I would also say, just at the Alamo Dome, the way our announcer knows when to speak, we've done some nice things of bringing in some extra fun, exciting things for the fans to just get people inside it. It's just a cool place to play, and we're really good at home. There's no arguing that. But I would say all those things matter, and we've got really good players, and that helps too.
JJ.
Jeff, what do you think was what led to the offensive explosion on Friday?
You don't want to hear it because it's boring, but just our culture. I mean, just every day, staying at it, winning the day, pound the fist, all those things y'all don't want to talk about because their coach talked to y'all. But we've kind of learned who our team is. We've kind of figured out some things, um, and we've just gotten better. And I still would like to get all my guys out there to see what it would look like this year. But that's never going to happen because just too many of them are out for the season. Um, but I would just say that it's just we've gotten better. We're just better at a lot of things. The last piece, and I told y'all before, we haven't ran the ball well, and we've really worked our tails off at that, and that finally showed up. So when you got screen game going, you got vertical shot game going, you got play action pass going, you've got inside run going, outside run going. That's just a lot of stuff, and that's a lot of football. But our guys have just gotten better, and our players have executed this games just so much better. You have a young quarterback that's just grown up right in front of your eyes, who's now going into double-digit starts. It's undeniable how much better he's gotten. That gives everybody confidence. So the exciting thing is, we're going to miss Willie, and we're going to miss Chris, and we're going to miss CJ, obviously. But the rest of those guys, are all coming back. They're all really good football players, and they're young. You're looking at a lot of freshmen and sophomores out there, and the next 2 or 3 years is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm excited and proud of them for persevering through this.
Jesse, you alluded to the run game. What was your assessment of what you saw on Friday with the rushing?
Anytime you go for over 300 yards in a game, this isn't high school football. I mean, this is tough to do. That's hard to do, and I was really proud of our guys that, especially in the fourth quarter where we have not ran the ball, all season well, and when everybody in the building knows we need to run it, so to bust that big counter when everybody knows we're going to hand it to our tailback was a really big play in the game.
Greg?
Jeff, we saw you finish this game without Jalen Garther from our Missouri. What's the health status on the offensive line going through this week?
We'll see. There'll be game time decisions.
We saw Demetrius Allen and Buffalo Cruz step up there on Friday. How did you feel about the way they performed and the way the group responded to losing those guys?
Really proud of both those guys. Neither one of those guys have kind of gotten the season they wanted this year. They both wanted to be out there more, but they both had great attitudes. They've been showing up every day, and really proud of the way both those guys competed and played. And we'll put him back out there Friday, whether Jay and Kamara can go or not. Both those guys have earned more playing time.
You've mentioned all year that Corey Godernet's been playing through an injury there up front. What did it mean to have him on the field for every snap in a game where your offense was out there as much as you were?
Yeah, you can just tell he's more healthy. I mean, his leg is pretty much healed up now. I wouldn't say it's 100%, but he's close. And he's just, he's a guy that's played a lot of big minutes for us in the past. And losing Mackay was a huge loss, and obviously Vinley and Luke. So he has kind of given us some stability because he's played so much in our offense. So I know, if I'm a fan, I'd be like, why are you playing somebody that's injured? He's obviously limping. Why is he out there? Well, he's kind of been the glue out there. He knows what's going on.
We've talked about David Amador a lot these past couple weeks, but I wanted to clarify with his injury. Was it worse than you guys initially thought, or were there some setbacks along the way? Just why did it take as long as it did for him to get back into the mix?
Yeah, those hamstrings they're frustrating. I don't know. We couldn't tell you. I mean, the UT Health is as good as there is. So those guys were doing everything they could, and we just couldn't get him right. Knowing David, he was probably overdoing it and probably kept re-injuring it if I had to bet. But I'm not a doctor. That's why I've got those guys to do it. But anytime someone misses that many games for a hamstring, it's frustrating. The beautiful news is he's going to get the red shirt. So we'll get another year out of him, and that's a big thing because you can tell how awesome he is. And also, I mean, somebody needs to strike an NIL deal with him just for his salsa dance in the end zone, and that was pretty impressive. If we can't get some deals going in the city of San Antonio with those kind of moves in the hips, I don't know if we're ever going to get anything going. Get that going, JJ.
How did he handle that part of everything mentally? Was it tough for him to not be able to be out there, or how did he respond to it?
No, he was struggling. He was in a dark place, man. That's tough. I mean, those guys that's hard. And, our sports psychologist does a wonderful job for those kids. And she's seen a lot of them this year. We've had so many injuries. And and it didn't matter. Back in 1986 or 87, whenever I separated my shoulder and you're not a part of the team anymore and you're in the training room all the time just rehabbing and you're having to miss practice, you just feel alone. You feel isolated. You feel like you're letting the team down. You don't feel like you're a tough person, especially when you're that young. And he was having all that, and he wanted to play so bad, and he knew we were struggling, and he knew how big of a part of the offense he was. I mean, he's our Taysom Hill. I mean, he does it all, and so yeah, he was in a bad place, but I'm really happy he's come out of it now.
We saw Marcellus Wilkerson on the field for the first time in a while as well in this game. What was your impression of what he brought to the defense?
He's a really good player. We're just trying to redshirt him. So we were trying to be smart with our 4 games with him. He's a really good football player, and so you won't see him, for the next couple of games. Hopefully we can make a bowl and we can pull him back out for the bowl game. That's one of the things I hope they'll change with all the rosters the way they are. We need to get it where they can play 5 years with 5 for 5, no more just 4 games. It just makes your roster. By the time you have as many injuries as we have, and you're trying to do right by a kid and take care of them, that's really hard. So I hope they'll change that rule.
Was that an injury situation with him as well? He's not one of the ones that's come up with all the names we've talked about through the year.
You talking about injury?
Yeah, for Marcellus. I don't know if that was the reason he was out.
No, as I stated, we're planning on redshirting him, but it wasn't because of injury. It was just a plan where we're trying to do what's best for Marcellus and for the Roadrunners as well.
How do you feel about the group of seniors getting ready for their last home game in the Alamo Dome? What stands out when you think about this class as a whole?
10 of them are on defense at start. So, if you're a young guy at UTSA, you're like going, man, I got a lot of chance to play next year. And if you're out there and you want to be recruited, we're losing 10 starters on defense. So, man, I just think of the championships they've won. They have an opportunity to go to their 5th consecutive bowl. I don't know how many teams have done that. I can't imagine. It's just a ton. It's really hard to do. You got a chance to be 29-3. I don't know where we are right now. What's the point of that? There's a lot of things to play for Friday night. What I've noticed historically is, it's a very emotional night, so they got to be careful. They don't empty their tank crying with their mothers and their aunts and their grandmothers and their brothers, taking pictures before the game. It's heavy. And, when you're an old man like me and you're telling young men that this day's coming soon and you're going to snap and it's going to be over, they don't listen. I didn't listen when I was their age either. And now they snapped and they're like, it's over, man. This is my last home game. So that's what I'll think about. I know I mentioned the 10 seniors, but, man, I also think about Micaiah Hart, Oscar Cardenas, Ken Robinson, guys that are not out there that are seniors, Joe Evans, all single-digit guys, all conference football players, all guys that are multiple conference champions that have helped us get to quite possibly our 5th bowl game if we can get there in a row. So those are all the things I think of, and I'll miss them. I've been with them a long time. There's a lot of production, a lot of memories, a lot of winning. Going to be walking off that field, Friday night for the last time in the Alamo Dome.
JJ?
Jeff, you alluded to bowl eligibility. It doesn't sound like the guys and the staff is taking that lightly. I guess is that something that's pretty important to you guys?
Yeah, it's extremely important because we want to practice another month. We like doing this. We like being around each other. We enjoy each other, man. I want to keep coaching those kids. It'll kill me if we can't get there. And but there's nothing we can do other than prepare. Doing everything you can to prepare doesn't guarantee you victory. But if you don't prepare as good as you can, it will guarantee you defeat. So we've got to do everything we can that we can control. Those same culture pillars that y'all get exhausted hearing about, we've got to live it, and we brought it today now. We had an unbelievable energetic practice. We know Temple is going to give us their best. They just let go of a really good coach in Coach Drayton. I know Coach Withers is going to have those guys ready. Usually when a team makes a change, you're going to get a lot of juice from that team, and they're going to come out, sky high. And we know we're going to get their very best shot Friday. We just got to make sure they get ours.
Jeff, what has it been about the month of November where you guys are able to take it to another level?
I think it's just the love we have for each other, how we trust each other, how many battles we've been through together, They really do trust us. We don't give up on them. I know there's many times. I can't imagine a season where we've been more frustrated than this one. Can't imagine a team that's blown more losses in crazy ways. But we've hung in there. And that's just a true testament to all the things we believe. Trust in your fundamentals and just keep getting better a little bit every day. And, I say it all the time. Nobody likes to hear that kind of stuff, but stick-to-itiveness, all those words are just the epitome of what this group has been all season long. They just hung in there. They like playing ball. We're still having fun and laughing and can't wait to go to practice. And I had a lot of my former players came by when we were 3-5 because they probably thought I was about to lose any bit of hair I had left. And they were all like, Coach, I can't believe how y'all are still practicing when y'all are 3-5. And I said, let me tell you something. When you keep practicing the way we are, you won't stay 3-5. We can dig ourselves out of this hole. And we've actually dug ourselves where we can almost see out of it. We just got a little more to go.
Jeff, you've talked about this before. In the current era of college football, it seems like it's going to be more and more rare that you see guys who play their whole career at one spot. And does it change your perspective or the importance or how you want to highlight, the guys like Jamal Ligon who are being celebrated this week?
I just think you got to be careful because I don't want to minimize Brandon Brown. I know Tripp's got another year, thank goodness. Any of those guys, Joe Evans, that I didn't get them the very first time, but they came to me the second time, right? But there's still something to be said for that, Greg. For your point, Oscar all 5 years, Ken Robinson. Now I know I'm going to leave out a lot of them. Now we brought this game up here. Jamal Ligon, 5 years. But, Martavius, I was at the University of Arkansas when we offered Martavius, and I recruited his tail off and had him committed. And I'm not saying I did, but I was part of that staff that did. And so you just know these kids for a long time. And but they'll be, you know me. I love these freaking kids. And it'll be a tough night for me. Because the defensive guys are different. They're just different. They're just, they're pistols. They're spicy. They just got some stuff to them, and you had to deal with them quite a bit. But I enjoy that type of child. And Danye Taylor, all 5 years with me. I remember when we recruited him, and now he's here. And but yeah, I think there's something to be said for anybody that stays in this climate, because all those guys are superior players. They could have gone anywhere they wanted to, darn near.
You mentioned the guys in that group who are dealing with injury for your, Oscar Cardenas, Mekhi Hart, Ken Robinson. I imagine there could be a lot of emotions this week. How have you seen them handle it through the early stages so far?
Yeah, it's just tough on them. It's just tough. They're on crutches and they're on the side, and it's just tough. There's no other way you can say it. They don't want to steal anybody's joy, though. They're not going to be that way, but you can just see it in their eyes. It's heavy on my heart. I mean, it is. I pray for those guys daily because I know how heavy that is, and no matter what you do, you can never make them feel loved enough because it's just they're warriors, man. They feel like they're letting their team down, and they didn't do anything wrong. They just got injured. It's just part of being a team and a great human. They want to be out there, and it's one of the worst parts of this job. But I will always be forever grateful for what those men have given to this program.
Do you know how JT Clark intends to handle senior day and what might be next for him?
He will not participate in it. We'll see what that all looks like. He's still waiting for his surgery, and he's got a lot of decisions he's got to make here, and he will not be participating in senior night.
Anything else for Coach Traylor this morning? JJ?
Yep, I think the early signing period is like in 2 weeks or something. What's the recruiting outlook for the Roadrunners for that early period? It is, I think, earlier than ever.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect to see a lot of action. We'll be patient. It's just early, and we're recruiting some really good football players, and if we think they can help our roster, we'll take them, and if we don't, we won't. We'll be very picky like we always are. We won't take somebody just to take them. We're not going to try to impress you with a bunch of early numbers and all that kind of stuff, so we can win that mysterious recruiting race and all that stuff people love to talk about. It's silly. So we'll stand on how we've been. We'll be judged about how those kids are in 3 to 4 and 5 years, and we'll be very patient and slow. And I would expect us to close strong, but probably start slow, like we always do.
All right, anything else? Thanks, everyone.
Thank y'all. God bless. Birds up.